stop for a second and think, does God even exist? And if he does, who created him? These are questions most people avoid because they're uncomfortable, confusing, or even controversial. But today, we're going to face them head-on. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear picture, not just what people believe, but what logic, philosophy, theology, and even science say about these ultimate mysteries. Let's be honest, the idea of God can be both comforting and terrifying. Some say God is the ultimate love, the source of everything good. Others question if he exists at all, especially in a world full of pain, suffering, and randomness. And then comes the hardest question of all. If God exists, who created him? It's natural to think that everything must have a beginning. Chairs have builders, trees have seeds, people have parents. So, how could God, if he exists, not have a beginning? Today, we'll explore this in simple, clear language, without judgment, without confusing terms. We'll look at philosophy, religion, and science, all pointing toward one of the deepest questions humanity has ever asked. Many people start by asking, if God exists, why is there so much suffering? Hurricanes, wars, disease, loss. These questions make the idea of an all-powerful, all-loving God seem impossible. Philosophers call this the problem of evil. It's not just a moral question, it's a logical one. Can a God who is all good and all-powerful exist if the world is full of pain? For some, the natural next step is skepticism. They wonder, maybe God doesn't exist at all. Maybe the universe is just random, a cosmic accident without reason or purpose. And that's a fair point. Humans rely on evidence. If something can't be seen, measured, or touched, it's natural to doubt it. But here's the twist. Doubt itself can lead to discovery. Even questioning God's existence is part of exploring the truth. It's the first step in a journey we're about to take together. Humans have always wanted to understand where they come from, why they exist, and if there's something bigger than themselves. This desire pushes us toward the ultimate questions. Does God exist? Who created him? And to answer, we'll first look at one of the oldest tools humans have, philosophy. Philosophers have debated God's existence for thousands of years, using logic to explore a question that feels beyond logic. One of the oldest and most powerful arguments for God's existence is called the Cosmological Argument. Simply put, it says this: everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist. Therefore, the universe has a cause. Sounds simple, right? But think about it. If the universe has a cause, that cause must exist outside of time, space, and matter, because the universe itself contains all of those things. Philosophers call this cause a necessary being. Many people recognize this as what we call God. What does necessary being mean? It's something that must exist. It cannot not exist. Imagine a world where everything depends on something else. Eventually, if nothing existed necessarily, there would be nothing. But here we are. Something exists. So, many philosophers argue that there must be one being that exists by necessity, without cause. That's often how God is described: eternal, uncreated, and independent. Another argument comes from observing the world. Look around. The universe seems finely tuned. The laws of physics, the constants of nature, the precise conditions for life, all of it appears perfectly balanced. Some call this fine-tuning, and it raises the question: is this just random chance, or is there an intelligent designer behind it? This is the teleological argument. It doesn't tell us everything about God, but it suggests that the universe might not be purely accidental. It may be purposeful. Philosophers also argue from morality. We all have a sense of right and wrong. Where does this come from? If there's no God, some ask, why would we care about justice or goodness? The moral argument suggests that an objective moral law points toward an objective moral lawgiver, a being that defines right and wrong beyond human opinion. Of course, not everyone is convinced. Some philosophers ask, maybe the universe just exists eternally without a cause. Maybe fine-tuning is just a lucky accident. Maybe morality is a social construct. These counter-arguments are important. They remind us that philosophy alone may not give a full answer. But the key takeaway is this. Reason alone can point us toward the possibility of a creator, even if it can't fully describe him. And that's where theology and religious tradition step in. Philosophy sets the stage. It prepares the mind to consider that God could exist. Now, let's explore how religions around the world describe God, and how they answer the ultimate question, who created God? This is where belief meets wisdom, and where centuries of human thought come together. In Christianity, God is described as eternal, uncreated, and all-powerful. The Bible opens with a clear statement. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis 1:1. Notice it doesn't say God was created, he simply is. Christians believe God exists outside of time. That means there was no before God, because time itself was created by him. God is the ultimate source of everything, the foundation of reality, and the first cause of all existence. Asking, who created God, doesn't apply, because God himself is the beginning. Judaism also emphasizes God's eternal nature. In the Torah, God is the eternal one who created all life. He is not part of the universe. He is the universe's origin. This eternal perspective underlines a profound truth. God doesn't have a creator because he exists necessarily, outside of cause and effect. Some Eastern religions approach the question differently. In Hinduism, the universe is cyclical, created, destroyed, and recreated over infinite time. Behind it all is Brahman, the ultimate reality, eternal and unchanging. Brahman is not created, it simply exists. In Buddhism, there isn't a personal creator God in the same sense, but there is an ultimate reality, the Dharmakaya, which is eternal and underlies all existence. Even without a creator deity, Eastern thought often points toward an eternal principle that transcends human understanding. Theological insights give us a perspective that philosophy alone can't. While philosophy uses logic, religion often frames God's existence in a way that's deeply personal and spiritually meaningful. Now that we've looked at what philosophy and theology say, it's time to explore science. Can the universe itself give us clues about God? Or does science only deepen the mystery? The next section will examine the universe through the lens of modern physics and cosmology. Modern science gives us fascinating clues about the universe's origin. According to the Big Bang theory, about 13.8 billion years ago, the universe began as an infinitely small, dense point called a singularity. From this singularity, space, time, matter, and energy all came into existence. But here's the critical point. The Big Bang explains how the universe began, but not why. Science can tell us what happened in the first fraction of a second, but it cannot tell us what caused the singularity itself. This gap is where philosophy, theology, and curiosity intersect. Have you ever noticed how the universe seems just right for life? The forces of gravity, the speed of light, and the properties of atoms all appear perfectly balanced. If any of these constants were slightly different, life could not exist. This observation is called fine-tuning. Some scientists suggest it points to chance, while others see it as evidence of intelligent design. Whether you interpret it spiritually or scientifically, the fact remains. The universe is astonishingly precise, and it raises profound questions about purpose and origin. So the question is, does science prove or disprove God? It's important to be honest. Science alone cannot prove or disprove God. Physics can explain the mechanics of the universe, biology can explain how life evolves, and chemistry can explain reactions. But none of these fields can describe a being outside time and space, who caused the universe itself. In other words, the questions, does God exist, and who created God, remain outside the reach of empirical science. Science helps us understand the universe God might have created, but not God himself. Many of history's greatest scientists were deeply religious. Isaac Newton, a brilliant mathematician and physicist, saw his work as uncovering the divine order of creation. Georges Lemaitre, who first proposed the Big Bang theory, was a Catholic priest as well as a scientist. Albert Einstein often spoke about a cosmic order that inspired awe, though he avoided the idea of a personal God. These examples show that faith and reason can coexist. You don't have to choose between science and belief. Many people find that scientific discovery deepens their sense of wonder and spirituality. Science explains the how. Faith explores the why. Together, they allow us to ask the ultimate questions. Why is there something rather than nothing? What is the cause of the universe? Is there a being beyond all cause and effect? When we combine philosophy, theology, and science, a consistent pattern emerges. The universe likely had a cause. That cause exists beyond the universe, and this cause, what we call God, does not need a creator. In other words, asking who created God is like asking what is north of the North Pole. God exists outside the chain of cause and effect. Now that we've explored philosophy, theology, and science, let's bring it home. Understanding the existence of God and that He is eternal and uncreated changes the way we see ourselves and the world. Life is no longer just random events. It has purpose, meaning, and direction. God, as many religious traditions affirm, is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. He existed before anything, and everything ultimately returns to Him. This means that your life, your choices, and even the universe itself are part of a larger story that has a source, a meaning, and a destination. Acknowledging God isn't about fear. It's about recognizing the reality that exists beyond ourselves, beyond time, beyond matter, and beyond our human understanding. It's about humility and wisdom, seeing that the universe didn't just appear by accident, but came from an eternal source. So let's answer the questions directly. Does God exist? The evidence from philosophy, theology, and even the universe itself points to the existence of an eternal, necessary being. God is not an idea that humans invented. He is the Alpha, the Omega, the eternal cause beyond all causes. Who created God? The answer is simple. God was not created. He exists outside time and space. Asking who created him is like asking, what is north of the North Pole? It's a question that doesn't apply to an eternal, uncreated being. Understanding these truths is not just an intellectual exercise, it's personal. It can change how you live, how you see others, and how you face the challenges of life. Knowing that God is eternal, that He is the Alpha and Omega, and that life is more than random events gives meaning, purpose, and hope. Take a moment to reflect. Where do you stand with the eternal source of life? Are you seeking, questioning, or denying? Remember, questioning is natural, but ignoring the possibility of God's existence is something the wise approach with caution. If this video has made you think, share your thoughts in the comments below. Talk to others about these questions. Explore, reflect, and seek the truth. Life is too short, and the questions are too important to remain silent. Don't be the one who says in his heart there is no God. Seek, question, and discover the eternal truth for yourself.